When we were doc students, she explained to me that writing is anything associated with the practice of writing. Writing can be the act of researching, reading, organizing, outlining, actually writing, and anything that ties into the final writing projects. Welcome to the Writing on My Mind podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Emmanuela Stanislaus, doctorate coach and diversity consultant. I finished my doctorate in 4 years while working full-time, traveling the world, and balancing a busy social life, and now I'm on a mission to create community for other BIPOC women to complete their doctorate degrees. Join me as I discuss the ups and downs of pursuing a doctoral degree. I'll be sharing personal stories, and I'm bringing some friends along for revealing conversations about their doctoral journey and provide inspiration for others to level up as doc students. Hey everyone, Dr. Emmanuela here with another episode of the Writing on My Mind podcast. Today, I want to talk about creating the perfect space that nurtures reading and writing. As you may or may not know, I chose to name the podcast Writing on My Mind because writing is always on your mind as a doc student. And so it makes perfect sense to dive into this topic today. A question that I get all the time is, how do you write more? And I, by no means, am an expert, but thought I would share some of my tips, especially now that we are definitely in writing season. People are writing midterm papers, research papers, articles, presentation papers. And so I think this is just the perfect time to dive into this topic. So, first, what is writing? As a doctoral student, I remember folks using this term all the time, and I had no idea what they meant. So, want to explore that today with this topic as well. As a first generation doctoral student, I thought that the term literally meant the act of writing. However, my friend Dr. Lamisha Brown, who you heard from in episode 15, gave me some insight into this topic when I was a student. So if you haven't checked out episode 15 in season 1, you should definitely check it out, as Lamisha is 1/3 of the first gen doc community founding members. So definitely check that out. We had a great conversation in episode 15. So when we were doc students, she explained to me that writing is anything associated with the practice of writing. Writing can be the act of researching, reading, organizing, outlining, actually writing, and anything that ties into the final writing project. So definitely wanted to share that because that was something that I didn't know. So all of these things count as writing. And it's important to view that because some of those things that counted as writing were things that I would beat myself up for taking too long to do. So whether it's reading or outlining my thoughts and things like that. But all of those things help you to get to that final project. So want to make sure that I share that. Another thing that I think is important is that there's a common misconception that writing is something that just comes to you or that many are innately good at. Well, I just wanted to say that that simply isn't the case. Writing doesn't just happen. It is something that takes a lot of practice to feel confident doing. It takes a lot of practice to try and find your true voice. So, want to make sure that you all understand that and give yourself grace in that area. Additionally, you have to actively work to create an environment that supports writing and that promotes writing. And that's why I want to jump into this topic today. Setting up your writing space is important because it lets you know mentally that you are ready to get to work. First off, when thinking about writing, you want to make sure that you determine what your goals are, right? So ask yourself, what are my goals? Is your need for writing tied to an assignment, an academic presentation, a journal article, a book chapter, or even all of the above? How much time do you have for the project? So, thinking about the due date and all of the things around that, what are realistic goals for the time that you have set up for writing? I think that's the first thing to help you get on the right foot when it comes to writing. I think it's important to start off the week establishing your writing goals, then look at the full week to determine what you will need to do each day to ensure that you meet your writing goals. I like to actually write out what I will do for each block of time that I've set aside. So, for example, I used to read during my lunch hour while I was pursuing my doctoral degree and still use my lunch hour to do some reading as I push through writing some manuscripts and book chapters and other writing projects. So during that time, I may have a goal of spending that lunchtime reading an article. In fact, the other day, I was reading an article entitled, They Don't Value My Knowledge, Interrogating the Radicalized Experiences of Black First Generation Doctoral Students in HESA programs, which is short for Higher Ed Student Affairs programs at historically white institutions. And this is an article written by Jason K. Wallace, who is another third of that first gen doc support group that I mentioned earlier, and Jesse Ford. And this was an article that was published in the Journal of First Generation Student Success for a project that I'm working on and would definitely recommend you all reading as doc students because it has some great stuff in there that you might find validating to some of your experiences. And I'll be sure to add the information in the show notes for you to access. So, back to the main thought, which is to say, plan out what you will do so that you don't waste your dedicated time trying to figure out what to do, right? If you're reading an article, make sure that you download it while you're planning out your week so that you have it ahead of time. You might also spend your dedicated time researching, so listing out ahead of time what you should be researching during that allotted time. Additionally, you want to estimate the amount of time each task will take so that you can maximize the time that you have. So, now thinking about productive writing spaces, one of the things that I think I want to do as I explore this topic with you is talking about a productive writing space that engages all the five senses. So, let's explore this topic with the senses as it relates to your writing environment. So, we're talking about your sight, smell, taste, touch, and hearing. So, the first thing is touch and feel, right? When I think about touch or feeling, I think of the space that makes me feel confident, comfortable, and productive. So you have to think about what's the best environment for you that engages that. I think that I've shared before that I prefer writing in a coffee shop or a library. And for one reason or another, I was able to focus in the midst of all of that noise. Maybe you might thrive better at a library or even in your own home. And when you're thinking about touch as well, you want to think about, where are you sitting? Do you have a dedicated space, a dedicated chair or corner or room for writing? Do you have a favorite throw blanket and or pillows to make you feel comfortable? How are you constructing the space so that you're comfortable but not so comfortable that you want to fall asleep, right? So those are the kinds of things that I think about when I'm thinking about touch and feel in terms of an environment that fosters writing. The next sense I want to explore is the sense of smell. And smell is very powerful. Have you ever caught a whiff of something and then was immediately transported to a moment in time in your past? That's happened to me and has been a mixed bag in terms of like good and bad memories. And so smell is truly powerful. It can impact your mood, which can impact your writing productivity. So, when you're thinking about smell, you want to think about what aromas will help you be productive. Do you have a candle that you like to light or smell to help you get in the right writing mood? Do you light incense and a particular fragrance that helps you as well? These things matter as they have the ability to impact your state of mind, your mood, as I shared before. And if you engage the sense of smell in creating a supportive writing environment, it will help your mind and body to know that it's time to write. Personally, I took to using a diffuser to help stimulate my mind and keep me focused when I would write at home. And so I had specific blends. I tend to add orange, which is good for energy, and jasmine, which helps with relaxation. So, how are you using your sense of smell to create a productive writing environment? The third sense that I want to talk about is taste. And this might seem like a weird one for you, but what drink gets you in the mood to write? I'm more of a tea drinker, so I will typically make myself some tea, even though, I would go to a coffee shop, I would definitely drink tea. Um, do you have a particular snack that helps you get in the writing mood? I like to make sure that I have what I need around so that I don't waste valuable time getting distracted about what I want to snack on if I get a little hungry. But also think about the things that don't help with your productivity or focus, like too much sugar or caffeine, which can affect you in different ways. So you want to think about that, like maybe not having too much coffee or things with too much sugar, because those can send you crashing or maybe give you too much energy that isn't productive. So that is taste, making sure that you have the things that help you to be productive. The fourth sense I want to talk about is sound and hearing. And sound impacts many things and does so in a deeper level than we may recognize. Sound affects our brain waves, our breathing, our emotions, and so much more. So, when creating your writing space, you want to make sure that you think about that. What is it that you want to hear as you're writing? What are the things that you can put in place sound wise that can help you to be productive? Personally, I love listening to jazz as I write. It just makes the words flow for me. It helps me with typing. It just puts me in the mood of I need to write. And I recently found a new Spotify station that I am really enjoying, and it really puts me in the mood to write, and that's Jazz Hop Lounge. And I'll put that in the show notes as well. So that you can have that if you want some recommendations. So, in this area, we're talking about what sounds, what music, what vibe has worked to help you be productive with writing. And then lastly is sight. What do you see? Colors have an effect on us and our moods and our feelings. And so we want to make sure that we're engaging that sense in creating a productive writing space. And for example, blue has been known to provide calming vibes. So do you have, blue things in the area to help you feel less anxious about what you're about to embark on in the writing process? Think about what colors are incorporated in your writing space. Think about the colors on the wall, the decor, all of those kinds of things. All of that can have an impact on your mood, your feelings, and your productivity in terms of writing. Are you getting enough natural light or light in general? Which again, too, impacts your mood. Is your space cluttered? And knowing too that the sight of seeing a cluttered space is distracting and can take you away from the task at hand. So, those were all of the pieces of exploring, creating a good writing space, a productive writing space, and exploring that in terms of our senses. Another piece to this whole topic is trying to minimize or eliminate distractions. If you're anything like me, you will find any reason to not write. That's partly one of the reasons why I choose to write outside of my house. Because when I'm at home, I will find any reason to get up from my computer. I might decide, oh, I see dust on the TV stand, and now I have to get up and dust that because it's bothering me. And even when I find a place in a coffee shop or a library at a local college to write, the distractions are still not 100% eliminated. The biggest distractor for me is my phone with social media, text messages, and phone calls. And you all might feel the same way. And all of these distractions just eat up at the valuable time that I could use writing. So, here are some things that you can do to tackle some of the distractions. The first thing is announce your writing plans to the people that you normally communicate with. Let them know, hey, I'm using Sundays as my writing day, so don't bother me or you won't hear from me. That's something that I did. Sundays were my days and no one would hear from me. And people got that routine. They saw that that was what was going on. And so they let me be. Or you might have certain days throughout or certain hours throughout the week that you might say, hey, from 5 to 7 every day, I'm not accessible. So don't reach out to me. So that is number one, announcing your writing plan so that folks can adhere to that. They can see that boundary that you are creating for yourself, and then you can set yourself up for success or at least eliminating some of the distractions in your life. The second thing is to turn on the do not disturb feature on your phone. This will stop you from getting the notifications of text messages, social media, and phone calls during a specified time period. This works beautifully if you're anything like me and get pulled away from a task at hand from random notifications that come your way or find it hard to ignore. I would also suggest closing out things on your computer that provide notifications like, for example, Outlook that just pop up at the bottom of your screen and take you away from what you need to do. So that would be my second recommendation, which is turning on the do not disturb feature on your phone and or computer. And then the third and last one is using the Pomodoro method. And this is a technique that was created by Francesco Carrillo in the 1980s. And this technique helps you to manage your time and minimize distractions and interruptions. And it also helps with keeping you motivated. First off, you start off with a task or a list of tasks that you'd like to accomplish. You spend 25 minutes on a task and you use a timer to time yourself and keep you focused on that task. At the end of the 25 minutes, you give yourself a 5-minute break. And that 5-minute break tends to be good enough for you to check your phone, check your social media, or send a quick text. And then after that 5-minute break, you go back into another Pomodoro. And so after about 4 Pomodoros, what you will do is take a longer break. So maybe a 15-minute or a 30-minute break to do longer things. Maybe you're sending out an email that has nothing to do with your task, or you're posting on social media, or you make a phone call. So, the benefits to the Pomodoro method is decreased distraction and you have more intensified focus on the task at hand. And so, many people use this, especially in the academic world, and just wanted to share that, especially for those who may not have heard of it before or want to learn more about it or, just need a reminder. So that would be my third and final recommendation in terms of trying to be more productive and eliminating some of those distractions while writing. So now I want to transition over to the What's Up With Me segment. And this is, I haven't done this in a while. And so this is where I just answer three things about, what I'm reading, what I'm telling myself, and something that made me smile recently. And so we will jump right into that. So what I'm reading, I'm actually in between books right now. I just finished Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo, who wrote The Poet X, which is a book that I loved. This particular book, The Clap When You Land, is a departure from some of the leadership, business, and self-improvement books that I've been reading lately. And I enjoyed it. I finished it and enjoyed it, although I wasn't a big fan of the ending. But this book follows two teenage girls, one in New York and one in the Dominican Republic. And it follows them during this 2-month time frame when they are dealing with the death of a shared father. And these teenage girls didn't know each other. And so, the death of the father brought about a lot of secrets that were left for them to uncover and live with. And so it was definitely I enjoyed it. It's always great to read stories that have a connection to the Caribbean. As you all know, I have a Caribbean background. Both of my parents are from Haiti, and so I love just reading books that just share some of that experience, especially someone being from New York too, so I could relate to that and would definitely recommend the book. Maybe you might find the ending better than I did. So next, what I'm telling myself all of the things that I shared in episode 4 when I discussed affirmations. And so I'm just keeping those on repeat, especially the one that I am telling myself most is I am in control of my destiny. There is so much going on in the world and in our day to day. And sometimes we might feel like we're not in control. And so that affirmation really speaks to me and helps me to stay grounded and to know that whatever I want, I can do and I can make it real. And yeah, that's that with that. And then something that made me smile recently, I'm currently planning a girls' trip to North Carolina at the end of the month with some of my mentors who have become friends as well. And it's coming at a great time because I am definitely in need of it as my new job has been quite the transition and just need a little getaway and a little pause and reset. So, definitely looking forward to that. We'll be going to some wineries and just relaxing as well. So excited about that break since it's been a couple of months since my last trip. And I know that hasn't been long, but like I said, my job has been, there's just been a lot going on in terms of like the workload and things like that. And so just definitely in need of a break. And so that's it for me, and that's it for this episode. I hope that you find the tips helpful and that you all are able to create a space that helps you to accomplish all of your writing goals. And that's it for now, and I guess I'll see you on the next episode. Bye. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Writing on My Mind podcast. If you'd like to support the podcast, make sure you subscribe and rate the show on Apple Podcasts and spread the word to other women of color doctoral students to grow our community. Be sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Dr. Emmanuela. And if you're looking for a group of real women of color doctoral students to help you accomplish your goals, join the Writing on My Mind community by visiting writingonmymindpodcast.com. See you on the next episode.